You know, when I lived in Ireland, we used to have what was known as creamy butter, meaning straight out of the cow. And golly, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I tried to get back there. Here it's 4:58. I'm sorry. I can be here for about an hour until days are getting longer. But I live in a holler where by now the sun is not shining in my holler. And I could drive through Sawtooth Mountain Range. So up here, the sun's pretty bright. Down here, not so much. Bright, not so much. And that's when my eyes get screwed out. Mm. Mm. Ooh. Bow food is good as long as it's warm. Once it gets cold, the coffee tastes like mud. The bow-rounds taste like cardboard. The sandwich. But bow food actually sparks up in the microwave pretty good. Microwaves, I'm learning the microwave. Like I make rice with microwave. Because instead of putting around in a pot of water on a burner, that takes like an hour. Microwaving it in a microwave container gets you perfect rice in about 10 minutes. And then you plop in half a thing of butter, mix around, fill it with some seasonings, and leave it there until you want it. And then you hit it for another 2 minutes, and it's perfection. Mm. So what is what? What is not what you want? What is not what you get? What is what happens when you serve love's co-creation? When and we have this illusion of this thing called the free will, which distracts us. You see, all the animals, you don't see your dog going, what should I do? You don't see your cat go, what should I do? You don't see a fish go, what should I do? Pretty much all the animals are our relations. They belong to God. They serve God in their life, in every day and every way. They are what they are. So being in line with what you are is what you are. It's what you get with love's co-creation. You get a sense of well-being. You get a sense of belonging. Even when you live out in the middle of nowhere, this sense of oneness, of one love. And yesterday could have been a very annoying day because everything I tried to do didn't quite work out. I could have gotten, but no. They're saying, well, I got to get all this stuff done, and then the first one doesn't work out. Second, I did the first one until I got what I could get done and said, okay, I'll come back to this. Second one, I did what I could get done. Pretty much all day long that kept happening, and I got stuck in a seat. It rotted out, and I fell down, and my legs were sticking up in the air, and my butt was on the ground, and it was quite interesting. And I could have really hurt myself. I could have really, because I was kind of near a cliff, and I could have trying to get out of there. I could have like whoop, right off the cliff, and who knows what would happen. But instead of that, I went into meditation, and I kind of slid this way, and my back went below the bar, and so I could just push the chair off of me and get off. But my back was at the top of this bar, and my legs were at this bar, and my butt was down here, and I could have still be there right now. Well, I could have hurt myself trying to, but no, I kind of just eased down, and my back went from below that bar, and I kind of just slid the chair off me. And that's, we are now facing all of these, the COVID, the trashed economy, and basically they trashed the economy because the economy was already trash. And they just, wanted to have this as an excuse, just like they let Donnie Trump become prez, because whenever you rebrand something, you have to do destruction and distraction. And boy, Donnie was best at that. And if you objectively look at what he did, he did nothing any better or any worse than Obama, And the last little morsel of the warm biscuit. Bicky. In Australia, we used to call these bickies. And in Ireland, we call them biskies. Wait, it's not warm anymore. Anyway, how are you two doing? First off, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to Dreamy Dreamland, wherever you are. And we had a little, about 1:30, 2 o'clock. I came on for about 15, 20 minutes, talked a little bit, said, hey, I'll be back at 4:30. I have to run some errands, which I did. And everything was very nice, and it's a beautiful day. And I will not be able to, I keep saying this, I won't be able to do any more, as many YouTubes as I have. Well, I'll keep, bumping into a place I can do it. So the universe will define when and where I will do a show. And I can promise at least one a week. Well, I don't want to promise anything that I can't do, so I will pretty much. But, pretty much I've been doing 2 or 3 a week. Back in the day, I used to do 1, 2, 3 a day, but not anymore. And thank you for your generosity. People have been sending things into my PayPal, and I appreciate that. And if you want to, be generous, be hospitable, send me some PayPal, you can. And just go to PayPal, and then I'll ask for a, email account. And mine is thedudeawake42@gmail. Thedudeawake42@gmail. And if you want to talk to me, come there. And it's how much spam I get on that thing. So it's what it is. And I will try best to answer those. And again, thank you for everything you do. And if you want to go read my writings, my short stories, my novels, my essays, go to the Dude Awake. No, that's not it. It's xratted.blogspot.com. That's my Griot Publishing. So you can go there and read my writings, and you can go to my email, the Dude Awake 40 with Gmail, and 11 minutes. So we're coming into this interesting time. So I've lived a life, many lives, I've lived in lots of different countries: Australia, England, Ireland, France, Sweden. And when I say lived, I just didn't go there and visit for a week. I was there a month or two or three or a year. Australia, I was there 3 years with my sweetie, my first wife, as she called it, my training wife, Donna Ann. I just stumbled across some Polaroids. Polaroid, I was working, I worked for the Australian government. I worked for the Avant-Garde Theatre of Australia with Punch Hawks. Go Google Punch Hawks. She's an amazing person. She wrote a great novel called Monkey's Paw, which was about the art scene in Melbourne and Sydney in the 60s, which was like, and they were always 10 years behind. So when I was there in 77, it was like the summer of love. And so, and my good buddy, Neil Curtis, who is like the Gary Trudeau of Australia, he's one of their more enamored political cartoonists. But in Australia, I was there 3 years. I was there. They had martial law twice, right? And I was at Ayers Rock when that little episode that they made the movie about, the dingo ate my baby, and then the cops, they just, there was this little motel in front of this gigantic, rock the size of Manhattan in the center of Australia, 900 miles to anywhere. And so the Greyhound bus, right? The Greyhound bus, that's what they call them in Australia, just like their TV network was ABC, Australian Broadcasting. So we were on this bus going to a place called Christmas Creek in the Nookamba. And I was sent there to do an ethnography on a group of Aborigines in the 60s when they found coal and uridium and titanium and stuff like out in the middle of the desert on their land. Instead of saying, because the Aborigines never thought of it as their land, but their government said it was. And so the company went out there and shot, there were about 700 to 900 Aborigines folk in this one cobra, this one tribe, this one collective. And they shot them all in the head, except for about 9 who were out there, picking berries and weren't there where the crowd was. And then, they just let the birds pick them away. And then, 20 years later, Australia wanted to have, the Olympics, and somebody didn't want them and had, photos of the killing and said, well, look, you guys are next to, trouble, why would we let you do the Olympics? And so they sent me out to the Nookamba to find these Aborigines, the 9 or so, and do an ethnography and find their sacred sites and put them on a top map. So while they were blowing up everything, going after the minerals, they would leave their sacred sites alone. And the Corroborees It wasn't like, a specific place. It was like the whole valley, right? But they wanted me to find that little space so they could put a little fence around and say, don't touch this. Unless the corporation would want to touch it and blow it up and kill everyone again, which is kind of what Australia does. It loves to do that. And so does America, and so does England, and so does all of the Anglo presence. They just, what's his name? My good friend Leconte, who was the French Freud, basically said, whenever you go, what your problem is, you're talking about yourself. So when America's going to all these countries about, oh, you're terrible and you're racist and what are you doing to the Uyghurs and basically they're talking about themselves. And both China, Russia, the United States, all the England, Japan, all those love dissing each other because it's a distraction. It distracts their own people away from the problems that their government is not taking care of them. So, what is what? What is when, Lord takes care of those who take care of their own. And that doesn't mean stealing from someone else. It means serving love's co-creation, right? Being in the state of one love. That's what it means. And someone said, so do you do that all the time? Well, I'm a human being. I can get, like yesterday was trying, but after the first one, once I got stuck in that chair, the first one, the thing I was trying to do didn't work out. The next thing didn't work out. I went to a place to get something. They were closed. How can you be closed on Saturday? They changed their policy. Anyway, so it's like, all I did was say, okay, I'm just going to do what I can do, and I'm going to do it with love in my heart, and it'll all work out. Not a problem. And it did, right? And things didn't, go the way I planned, but that was okay because I got a lot of things done, and I saw other things that needed to be done and took care of them. Just like I'm talking to you, instead of rushing back and trying to get the last hour or two to do something. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to talk to you for a little bit, and then I'm going to head home, and then I'm just going to, read the book I've been reading and move on, And tomorrow I'll do all the stuff I was going to do today. Because what I was going to do yesterday kind of got pushed around and went to today, and then, but that's okay. I live out in the middle of the woods. It's no big deal. I'm not stuck to anyone's anything. I'm not desperately, right? And I can enjoy every moment, just like I enjoyed eating that Bow biscuit, that blueberry Bow biscuit. It was exquisite the first 3 quarters. And then I put the last chunk down and it got cold. And like eating, a piece of cardboard, because that's basically what it is. Flavored cardboard. So you can, like when I bake a biscuit, you can eat it anytime and it tastes great. It's still fluffy. It's still crisp. It's still got all that yumminess that when I make my biscuits. And I learned how to make biscuits from the old crone, and I learned a lot of cooking because she was quite the chemist, and baking is chemistry. Cooking is more like experience and flair. And so I got plenty of that. So it's getting towards 20 minutes and 26 seconds. So anyone got anything to say? Because I'm going to head on on. And my next show, I'm going to try and get a bunch of photos showing the New York art scene, the early 1970s of the New York art scene, when we were true bohemians living in abandoned buildings. The oil embargo of 72 kind of was, again, one of these heralding of this new rebranding. I mean, the rebranding has started in 1952 is when, after World War II, and we kind of got into Korea. That's when we started the stair-stepping thing through, because the Nazis had won the Second World War, Germany was bombed into the Stone Age, but the Nazis, National Socialist Party, right? The Stolze Skutz and the Thule Society and a few other the esoteric entities, basically they won because they basically captured the economics of England and the United States. And then, by throwing the world upside down, obliterating Russia. Russia was never an enemy. They lost 60 million people in World War II. All of their cities were bombed to dust. So how could they, the United States didn't get touched. And we were at the height of our manufacturing. We were kicking out B-24s and B-29s 1 an hour. So, along with kicking out refrigerator, England was, stayed in the war doldrums, meaning to buy butter and milk and bread, they had to have stamps up until the 60s. Well, the United States was kicking butt in the 50s. But the Nazis had taken over. Operation Paperclip brought 70,000 Nazis into the American government. Not just Werner von Braun, but 70, all over the place. That's why we got the CIA. That's why the Dolan brothers, they were Wall Street lawyers who were at Versailles after World War I, and that's why Germany got beat, and why Versailles was kicked out, because why did the United States go into World War I when Woodrow Wilson ran on, I'll never send American boys to fight in Europe? Well, 8 months later he did. Why? Because the banks had lent billions of dollars to France and England and to crush Germany, and Germany looked like it was about to win. So that's what happened. We went in there, and that's why Germany was pissed off. They felt like that whole thing it was stolen from them. Same kind of motif that Donnie and his 74 million Americans believe, right? Now, they don't realize that Donnie was in on the joke, and it was all there to kind of, again, disrupt and distract and destroy elements of our government. So this new branding of the new corporate, NICP, Neo Insane Clown Party. Did any of you guys ever know the band, the Insane Clown Party? They were like 70s, 80s, 90s kind of folk, maybe early O's. And they were quite interesting. And so most people didn't listen to what they were saying. I did. And they were interesting. And I remember when they were like still playing in bars, I kind of rolled into them and said, "Oh, artists." And so after their gig, and people were still, this was a headbutting kind of crowd. But, I kind of went around to where their van was and kind of was out there smoking and said, "Hey, you want some?" And they said, "Sure." And we started talking, and I started talking about what I talk about. And they said, "That's exactly what we're talking about." So I just added the neo, like there was neoliberals and neoconservatives. These, what we are in right now, and Donald Trump really manifested and exemplified the Neo Insane Clown Party. And, people like Moscow Mitch. You know why they call him Moscow Mitch? Because he is what is known as a Stalinist obstructionist. He will stop whatever. He doesn't care about the goodness or what's right for even his constituency. None of those clowns do. We have the best legislators money can buy. Meaning, more than 20 states have got laws on the books making it a felony for some young child who feels that they, aren't really their genders, what their genitals say they are. And if they ask their mommy and daddy or someone in school or go to a shrink, everyone, even the child, will be felonized. Really? In America, land of the home, free of the brave, right? Over 30 states have passed laws that are on the books that say the First Amendment is a felony, and they use World War I's. Woodrow Wilson really, a lot of people didn't, he got elected saying, I'm not sending American boys to fight in the European War. And then he did. And so a lot of people were upset about that. And so he made a law stating that the insurrection or incension, some act, where you can't diss the government. If you talk, squat about the government, you go to jail for 15 years. And it's still on the books, and people still have been sent there for that. And Sacco and Vanzetti, who were accused of being, anarchist, were killed for that, and what's her name? The people who were blamed for stealing the atomic bomb and giving it to the Russians, which they didn't do. Basically, that technology was already old hat, and nuclear weapons, fission weapons, fusion weapons are nothing compared to scalar weapons, which the Nazis, which Tesla had in the 1890s, right? The Nazis had in the 1912s during World War I. They had certain elements of that. So nothing is as it seems to be. And so what is what's in your heart's love, co-creation of one love. That's what is what. Love's co-creation of one love. And that's what we have to do in every day and every way. And if we lead by example, the rest will follow. That's all you got to do. So I don't need to be famous. I don't need to be rich. I don't need for anything, because I'm living like a millionaire on nothing, because I serve love's co-creation. Back in the day, 20 years ago, when I started working for the corporate guys, being a negotiator and a person who looked at trends for them, demographics outside the usual suspects, and I got paid really good for that. But, I gained, all I did was, live a hedonist life, which I gained 200 and something pounds and died in a plate of spaghetti. And I went up to the other side, the up, instead of the downside, I was on the upside. And there was everyone celebrating, hey, welcome home. Hey, it's good to see you. And then my master, Akash K, kind of showed up and said, give me a big hug and said, you're doing great. And I said, doing? I said, yeah. He goes, you got to go back. I said, what? He says, well, you can stay here. Sure you can. But if you do, haven't finished your work, you'll have to go back. And who knows what level you'll go back at. You're doing really great. Just go back, stay at it till you're all done. And then you'll done that baby step and you'll move forward. Well, most people don't do that. They just kind of go back to where they were as somebody else and, worry, do the same laundry list over and over and over and over again. Because, we have unlimited amount of time, because time does not exist, because the past is just a memory. You're not living in the past. A lot of people try to. Future's not here yet. People are all gaga about the future, but it's not here. It never turns out like people say. Look at Y2K. That was supposed to be the end of times. 2012, end of times. End of times ain't coming in, I'm sure, because we have forever to deal with the issues we have to deal with. So I'll leave you guys, or one of you, AI, to think about that. And I am going to go, because it's that time that I do. I love you, and I'll try and get back to you sometime a week, at least, the next 7 days I'll do another show. Okay? Okay. Love you.